Hello, this is Laura Live, and today we're talking about how a parent can tell if Gemini is working. What if your child isn't talking yet? And again, this is Laura Live, and we're going to talk about how we can tell if Gemini is actually working for your student. A lot of people will see all the testimonials that we have, and all the other parents are talking about their kids getting these great results right off the bat, sometimes the first day. And sometimes maybe your child isn't talking yet. How do you know if the information is getting in? How do you know if it's having an effect? Well, the first way you can tell is just by doing receptive testing. You want to make sure that you start on a Monday and you test on a Friday, or one day a week you are taking out the flashcards. You can print them out of the session, or you're using the platform itself to test receptively to see if the child's understanding. That's the first way. The second thing is we believe, and we have some pretty good published research in other fields pointing to this, that Gemini is actually lighting up their brain in the way that it's switching their focus from their daydream state or their default network into their active network. And when you do wake up out of a daydream, there's some things that happen. First off, eye contact is going to improve dramatically. And that's the first thing parents say. They see eye contact is improving with their students, with their children. The next thing you're going to see is that he just seems more with it. He's not in his own world so much. You'll see that he'll pay attention to sounds where normally he would just ignore them. So if the big loud sound goes out outside, he'll maybe look outside and he'll actually hear it. And you'll get this feeling from him that he's more present. Another thing that you'll see is new sounds. So the child will be making a lot of new sounds, new babbling, be more aware of his mouth, be aware of your mouth. And all of these things may happen. It looks like he's even watching the videos. A lot of parents think that they're not paying attention at all, but they notice these things start to happen. Another thing you will see is fine motor skills increase. All of a sudden, he can use scissors. He can draw a circle. He's holding a pencil correctly. These are really great indicators that we are making some changes neurologically. We have noted in our research from in the process of doing some research work that the physical therapists have said that the gross motor improves dramatically. So if all of a sudden your PT is telling you, wow, yeah, we had great sessions this week, I don't know what's going on, but he's really starting to get it, that's an indicator that it's all working. And all these things come together over time to help to get the student going where they need to be going. And you will see that all of there's a global improvement that happens just from watching videos. I know, it's crazy. In fact, it's so interesting to the neurology community that we have two different universities asking us to complete brain scan studies with them, one with an EEG study, one the fMRI study, to see what in the world is going on in these children's brain, that they have these global improvements just by watching videos. So it doesn't start with speech, with expressive language. It starts with all of these other things that you will notice. And most parents don't know that they're supposed to be looking for that. They want speech so badly that they're just paying attention to the speech. But you got to look at all of these other little milestones to go, oh, it's working, it's working. Is this available worldwide from Vicky Vogel? Yes, it is. It's all web-based. So no matter where in the world, you can access it. Now, when we first launched, Australia went crazy for Gemini because their country's so spread out, they do not have a lot of access to therapy. This Gemini is the best option for Australia, but their internet speeds are really, really low, and data is very expensive there. So we developed an app that allows the parent to download the student session onto a tablet or a smartphone. And then you can go offline. You can go in the car, you can play it in the house, you can actually even connect the tablet to a TV, so you can have it huge, no internet issues, no internet speed issues, no internet overpaying for internet, nothing. So that's helped now we created it for Australia, but the whole world is using it. I use it with my own 4-year-old in the car. It's phenomenal. How appropriate is it for my 20-year-old grade level but not verbal son? 20-year-old grade level. So your son is at grade level in everything but nonverbal. I'm assuming that's what this means. Because if so, we're talking about severe apraxia then, or could be selective mutism. Yes, okay, severe apraxia. So for severe apraxia, we have seen tremendous gains. In fact, some people who have been diagnosed with apraxia, and we're talking about little children right now, they've lost the label because now they're even scripting. They're talking like crazy because of it. If your son is 20 years old and he's had lots of therapy his whole life, I'm assuming, there's two things that could be going on. First, there's learned disuse, where he just stopped talking because it became too hard, and then over time he's lost the desire to want to talk. So that's part of it, and we have to address that separately. Then the other part is just the connection between his brain and his mouth is full of holes. It's just not bringing the information to his mouth, so we have to strengthen that connection. Now, we've seen that by working on these connections, even paraplegics can start to move their feet. So, and it takes 8,000 to 10,000 reps. So if he's motivated, if he wants to be able to speak, if he's really motivated, he's going to have to watch these videos 8,000 to 10,000 reps to get it to start going. And he's going to be moving his mouth along with the video. What happens is his brain will think that his mouth is actually making the sounds by watching the videos the way we have them filled. We're tricking his brain into thinking that he's doing it. And by doing it over and over again, we're reinforcing these pathways to his mouth from his brain until they make a connection. Now, can I promise you it's going to work for a 20-year-old? Absolutely not. I cannot promise. All I can say is that we have seen even people older than that start to have speech. And when I mean, they're not going to start speaking in full sentences in a week. We're talking at first, there's sound imitation. They can mimic sounds. After that, it's word imitation. And then it's speech. And then we start bringing it into speech. So it takes longer. But as far as we know right now, this is the best hope of having older praxic people being able to create vocal verbal speech. You're going to want to start with a video that's one word or two, maybe two or three words that are high interest words to him that he really wants to say. Maybe stop, maybe help, maybe his name, maybe your name. And if he has full cognition level, but just has the apraxia, he can say, hey, Mom, if I can say 3 words, I would want them to be these 3 words. Maybe it's Luke Skywalker. I don't know. Something he's really motivated to say. So we're going to work on those 3 words and just watch those first. And then we're going to build on that afterwards. I joined late and heard you mention selective mutism. My 4-year-old ASD daughter may have this. Her therapist and teachers believe so. She will not use words or talk to other adults, but as soon... Sorry. Okay, it's not letting me see the rest of the... Okay, here we go. As soon as I walk in the room, she's a chatterbox. How can Gemini help with selective mutism? All right, that is all about motivation and fear. So, or a combination of the both. A lot of people, especially if she has autism, if she has ASD, okay, she has an autism spectrum. What some people believe, again, when I talk about some people believe, this is not proven by any state of the imagination. This is things that many people are talking about. There seems to be backup in other levels of science, and it makes sense. So when we're talking about this right now with selective mutism, we're talking about the fear response. It's known that people with autism have high anxiety levels. They're fearful of things, very fearful of things that would not even bother us, that we wouldn't even think are scary. So if you think about if someone's living in a dream, dreams can be really scary. They're called nightmares, right? So if you're living in a dream and the world around you is confusing, and you can't control your own body like you can't in a dream, right? You can't scream when you want to. You can't run when you want to. So you're in there, and lots of older people with autism describe themselves as being trapped in their own body, that they can't control it. It's exactly the way we feel when we're dreaming. So if you have a child who's stuck in a daydream and all of these new people are coming around, she's unsure, her cortisol levels go through the roof, and she can't talk. She's just frozen in fear. That is, in my opinion, that's what's going on more likely than with selective mutism. Some people think that it's like extreme stubbornness, that they don't want to talk, and I just don't believe that. I believe it's fear. So if we can decrease those cortisol levels so that she's not afraid, we'll be able to see her speak more. By getting her inner active brain, getting her out of that fear place, she's going to be able to talk. And she's not going to be so worried about it. So I really think that we should start to use Gemini to get her receptively. You know what she can say. So don't teach her things that she already can say. We're not worried about that. We're worried about her fear. So if you're going to create a session, create things that she doesn't know yet. So she's learning and not bored to death. One of the problems and the mistakes that people make with selective mutism is to treat it as if it's apraxia, and to teach and go back to making sounds, to working on basic labels, and as if you would treat apraxia, and that's not the problem. They are able to create speech. So teach her new things, and in the meantime, we'll be trying to light up that active brain to get those down. My son is 6, and he had brain injury during birth. We have severe delayed speech. He can speak 150 words and understand a bit more. He is also very active, and I'm not sure how he will sit still through the session. So what you're going to want to do, Sarah, is go through Quick Start and find the things in Quick Start that he doesn't know. And Quick Start has about 1,000 different words in it, and it's a basic preschool vocabulary. So colors, numbers, shapes, simple sentences, lots of stuff in there. And so you're going to want to go through Quick Start and teach him all of the things that are in there. If he doesn't sit still, oh my gosh, Gemini is the only thing that works for kids that don't sit still. Because you can just put it on a big screen. You download the app on your tablet or stream it from Chromecast or Apple TV onto your big screen in the living room, and he'll pop by once in a while and take a look and then leave and then, come back and take another look. You can put it on while he's eating. You know how many of us will read the back of a box of cereal, tongue twister, just when we're eating, just mindlessly read it. It's something to do while you're eating. So you can put it on a laptop at the table while he's eating. You can put his chair in front of the TV in your living room while he's eating. I know you don't want to make a mess, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Or put it on in the car. Put a tablet holder on the back of the seat and just have him watch it then. He doesn't have to be an audience. He doesn't. Just seeing it once in a while is going to be enough. And even hearing it, if it's playing in the house, just hearing it's going to be fine. 5-year-old boy with autism repeats lots of what he hears on Gemini, but we can't get him to answer, "What's your name?" He has watched Gemini videos of this many times. Any suggestions? So he've watched the "What's your name?" He is not getting it that it's a question to him. There may be a theory of mind issue where he's seeing that the actors acted out on stage, and even though his name is being said, he's not that kid. This happens very rarely, very rarely. 99% of the time, kids can generalize that their name. But if he's still at the point now where he's not putting himself in that other person's position, then you're going to create your own video and you're going to insert it into this session. So you're going to have a video, and you're going to shake his hand and say, "What's your name?" And you're going to have somebody behind him, like his dad, shaking your hand saying, "His name is," oops, I forgot his name. Is his name? Nope, we don't know his name. Let's say Jason. "His name is Jason." And then you're going to say, "Jason," say, "My name is Jason." And that's all you have to say. And then he's going to play the new video. It's going to be inserted into the session where we say, "What's your name?" "My name is Jason." And we're going to see if he can, by doing that, watching himself there, if he can make that epiphany, "Oh, they're talking about me. I'm supposed to say, 'My name is Jason.'" Try that first. And if you want to know how to upload your video, you just shoot the video on your phone, and you can upload it to your Gemini account. It's easier if you transfer it from the phone to the computer and then upload it into the account from the computer. It takes me 5 minutes to do this. It's very quick. And then it would go into your My Sessions category, My Videos category, and then you can upload it into your session edit to the session. Let us know how that works. Try it for a week. If he's still not getting it, we're going to go on to plan B, but let us know how that works. My 5-year-old son with ASD will repeat but won't talk unless it's repeating. So he can talk but doesn't seem to understand. Will Gemini help? Yes, so that's called echolalia or scripting. And yes, Gemini is phenomenal at that. So we've got, for two things, we've got proximate echolalia, which is he repeats the last thing you say. Do you want to go to the beach? Want to go to the beach instead of yes, right? For that, you're going to want to teach him or let him see the session on Quick Start called Echolalia Busters. And that will teach him the prompt, no repeating, answer the question, and yes and no. So he watched that. Many children, many. I mean, we're talking like in the thousands of children who have severe echolalia problems watch that video, and within one day, they stop echoing. Now, they still kind of have the habit, but as long as you just give them the prompt, no repeating, they go, oh yeah, okay, sorry, I shouldn't do that. Yeah, yes or no. Now, after that, we've got delayed echolalia, which is scripting, where they're just sort of like singing a song in their head, but it's coming out their mouth, and it's not a song, it's scripts of what they've heard before. That's harder to treat, but but we can do it. I didn't say it's harder. It's easy. It just takes a lot of effort. It takes a long time. So what you do is you first have to make sure that they have a lot of receptive language, so they understand what you're asking them. So you're going to not worry so much about the scripting right away until they get through Quick Start language and they understand everything in there. And they can start having more expressive language, because then we're going to teach them, tell me 3 things. So when they're scripting about something they've heard before, if this is a commercial about cars, like it's a car lot commercial, they're scripting it. Say, oh, Jason, tell me 3 things about CarMax. And then they'll have to stop. There's cars. You're driving cars. Cars are yellow. Maybe he likes yellow cars. I don't know. He needs to stop and think about it. And the minute he has to stop and tell you 3 things, he is engaged in his active network and he's waking up. And so we are pulling him over to that active network. And every time he does that, the default network is less and less of a magnet. And it's a pain in the network. It's difficult. It's uncomfortable. He's not going to want to constantly tell you 3 things. He's going to be more aware of when he's scripting. And what happens is he'll start doing it when you're not around, like to try to hide from you. And when he's doing that and he's thinking about it and being deliberate, it's not a stimmy thing anymore. It's just a habit. And that's what we're trying to get it out from, that stim area of the brain, which is the default network. Excuse me. Whew. So I just got a little something in my throat. So that's going to be the best way to him. But before you can get to the tell me 3 things, you're going to have to make sure he has a lot of language from Quick Start. So you know what? Work on the proximate echolalia with the questions, and don't worry about the scripting until he has enough language where he can answer tell me 3 things, because you can hit it hard. You can get rid of it in about 2 months if you really, really hit it hard. And once you get to that point, let us know, and we'll give you some pointers what to do. You're going to want him I'll tell you right now, actually. You want to keep him engaged in his active network as much as possible so that he doesn't script. You want to put him on balance boards. You want to take him swimming. You want to give him a remote control car. You want to take him running. You want to roughhouse play with him. Keep him as active and off balance as much as possible, because you can't do all of those things in your default network because you fall down or you drown. You have to be awake for those things, and it will reinforce his active network. I agree that it can't be cured, but that you can teach them to cope with their issues better. Just wanted to clarify what I've heard. Thank you for that, Gemini. Definitely helped my son. He would not repeat any words until we started it. So great. And I know I know autism can't be cured. It's a genetic predisposition. So you're going to always have the genes. You're always going to have the predisposition towards it. But you can become less and less symptomatic without losing the wonderful perspective that being on the spectrum gives you. It's best if you can retain that and also being functional in our world, if you can live in both worlds. And that's the goal of all of us. We don't want to get rid of autism. We want to help people who have those genes, that genetic predisposition, to be able to live independently and live in our world, because they're going to be much happier that way. And they have a lot to offer, but from just having a different perspective. So it's never my idea to stomp out autism or anything like that. My own children who are on the spectrum are still on the spectrum. They're just very functional, and they can think in ways completely differently than I think. They come up with things like, one of them said, Mom, every other moon in the solar system has a name. Ours is just called Moon. You're right. That's weird. Why doesn't our moon have a name? I know a typical person wouldn't notice that. Someone on the spectrum thinks about things like that. And it's really fascinating, and it's interesting, and it gives you these aha moments. I get this all the time from my children. They come up with these insightful things. Okay. What is the outcomes we need at the first week with a child who was minimum verbal emotional age up to 8? So what you're looking at for the very first week, I'm not so much about the student as about the parents. I want to see the parents set up a routine the first week. And that's why we have this program set up as the way we do, is that you get on a call and you make a call. So the hardest thing about Gemini is not really have anything to do with the student. It has to do with the parents. It has to do about making a routine. So whatever your routine is now, think about how you can insert Gemini into that. Playing it in the living room on a big screen, having it watched on a laptop while you're eating breakfast, playing it in the car. Now, some students don't ever leave the house, or they do, it's just to the park and back. They're not driving around in the car. For them, you're going to think of a different routine. And whoever you're with on the phone, when you make that first call, will be able to talk to you. Okay, what do you do? Okay, let's think about this strategically. Take that first week and make it a successful viewing week. Get it into your routine. After that, as far as the student goes, you're going to want to see that he has increased eye contact, that he's new sounds, that he seems more present, all these nonverbal things, and doing things that, like, you'll find yourself saying, that's funny. You never did that before. And when you find yourself saying, wow, I've never seen that before, you know it's working. Like, maybe all of a sudden, you've been showing him how to take his coat and hang it up on a hook his whole life, and he just always throws it on the floor. All of a sudden, he takes off his coat and he puts it on the hook. Like, never done that before. Or has better eating habits. He's not just picking. He actually will eat. Or sleeping better. A lot of people talk about children sleeping better doing this. Anything that makes you stop and think, that's different, that's Gemini. It's working. Okay. How long can you start using Gemini with children? 2-year-old with ASD here, no words other than no and mum. Lots of mumbling. Will Gemini help at such a young age? Absolutely. You know, I used to think that you had to be 3 years old for us to hear vocal verbal speech, but I always said start right away. Start at 18 months, because you're getting all that receptive language. And so when their brain and their mouth do kick in, they'll have something to say. You don't want to wait till they're 3. That's a waste of time, especially since we're talking about changing neurology potentially. Why would you put that off? You want to keep that going. But now, since we've been using it with thousands of people, we got these 2-year-olds who start to talk right away. Not everybody, but a bunch. So I blew that out of the water. Like, okay, you never know. But even at this young age, 18 months old, I know some people have had diagnosed or had thoughts even when the children are 12 months old. Even at that young age, if you think, a doctor once told me, parents are so inclined to overthink, or to look over, rather, all of their children's deficits and make excuses for them, that if a parent thinks that there's a problem, it's so contrary to our nature as parents, there is definitely a problem. And don't let anybody tell you there's not a problem. There's a problem. Okay? If you feel it, it exists. If you feel it at 12 months old, it exists. Start using Gemini right away. The parents who are starting from that early age, 18 months, 2 years old, the kids, this has now been, we've launched for now 2.5 years, the kids are going into mainstream and preschool without a diagnosis. It's happening more and more now because we've been around long enough to see this happening. It's exciting. I always knew it was going to happen. I expected this. But now we have the proof it's actually happening. Start right away. And again, don't expect him to start talking right away, but maybe make animal noises. Maybe make the animal signs, and that's why we have those signs in there, because those are easier for the children to do rather than vocal verbal speech. Maybe make some new sounds out of his mouth. You'll see eye contact improve. You'll see he seems more present. If he's a video kid and he watches videos all day, you may have some pushback. You will have some pushback. He's not going to like Gemini. He's going to watch his Mickey Mouse or whatever he's been watching. So you just have to put up with it. Once he realizes this is routine, this is what we do, the tantruming will stop, and it may take a month. It may take 2 months. Just fight through it, but it'll be worth it. These live videos are very informative. We are having similar issues with my 3-year-old ASD son with learning names. We have the What's Your Name videos for himself and his brother and other family members. Sorry. It will not let me see the rest of the comment. I can see the rest of the comment for some reason. So, sorry about that. I can't read it. Same here with therapists and other tools. It was a year ago we started with Gemini before diagnosis. We use it in conjunction with other tools as well. We currently are not using it, but I definitely recommend it to many. So I don't know how old your child is, but I would suggest to get back on Gemini and start using it again. The reason why people fall off of it, some people, even when they see it's working, they'll cancel because, especially in the United States, our children have so much therapy during the day, they think, I can't fit it in anymore. I just can't. What you have to realize is that by using Gemini to replace the modeling part of therapy, you're going to make your therapy sessions 4 times as effective. Your child is going to move through his lessons 4 times as fast. And this is all about the ratio of time to improvement, because we want to get him caught up to peers in his language as soon as possible. Do not waste his therapy time on modeling, especially when you can be doing it in the car or during meals. Even if you only have time in Gemini to do it 20 minutes a day, driving 10 minutes here and 10 minutes back, it's 5 times, or I don't know how many more times, much more effective for modeling, which has been proven in studies, than live therapy. So that 20 minutes of just modeling it is going to be like 2 hours in therapy, or more even, more time. It'll go in a lot easier. When he gets a therapy session, he won't have to sit there in front of flashcards or learn anything. He'll already have the language, and the therapist can focus all of her time on getting it out. It was designed so that it did not take up any of the student's time. It does not replace anything. And I cannot emphasize this enough. We need these kids to improve quickly if they're going to catch up, because the academics are the easy part. The social skills are much more difficult, and they're going to take years, and they can't even begin to start working with those until their language is up to their peer level. So there's really no reason to stop. It's going to really help as far as getting him caught up to peers. All right. I have a 3-year-old with autism from Michelle. Moderate to severe. I also have a 2-year-old who was born with low white matter and a global delay. We are with our 3-year-old, we do therapy twice a week. Vocabulary is still low. Let me see. She struggles with change. Could Gemini help with both? Absolutely. So struggling with the change thing, I believe, again, I don't have any proof, but this is my intuition, that it also has to do with the fear response in the brain. So if you're dreaming in a daydream, daydreams can be, or if you're dreaming in it when you're sleeping, dreams can be really scary because things can change so abruptly. You're walking down the road and all of a sudden you're in Venice. How'd you get to Venice? And it's like, okay. And sometimes it seems so real. And I think to myself, I've got to be in a dream. But sometimes I've actually reached out and rubbed a rough wall, and I can feel the rough wall. And I can feel that. I must not be dreaming, but how in the heck did I get to Italy, And so things change abruptly. If you're living in that daydream state, when you have to change from one thing to another, it's scary. You don't know what's going to happen next. And you and I have no idea what the world looks like to people who are living in this daydream state. It could be all wavy. Things could be moving in and out. They finally are in some place where nothing has changed for a while, and so they can get their arms around it and it's not scary. Now they got to start it all over again. This could be something that's happening with a lot of our kids. So by getting an active network, you'll see that those things will stop. Now, we talk about where we see all the things I'm talking about: being more present, better eye contact, lessening the fear of change, and lessening tantrums, and lessening the fear of scary noises, and all that thing are all things that sunrise parents say is happening with their kids. And you hear this all the time. Now, I know Sunrise doesn't have any research, but you know what? Sometimes you have a massive amount of parents saying something. You got to look and see what they're saying. And I've talked to people in the ABA community and the neurologists saying, yeah, we need to look into Sunrise because there's just all these testimonials. We really wish they had more research. Well, the reason why they're doing it is the reason why they started PRT and ABA. The reason why it works is because you are engaging that active network all the time. And with Sunrise, the methodology is keep them playing, engage with you every waking minute. And you're going to light up that active network. Now, a combination. Now, the problem with Sunrise is that there's just not enough time to do both. There's not enough time to teach language and to be playing with them all day long. And so when I hear from Sunrise parents that they have all these great skills as far as their eye contact and they're more present and the fear is stopped and everything, but their language is still really low. It's the opposite with ABA. It says language is doing great, but they have all those other issues. PRT kind of mixed the two together so that you see incremental improvements altogether. But most kids in a PRT program are only there for a couple hours. And they need to have that active brain engaged as much as possible. So the combination of active play, as much play as you can do, keeping them off balance, and watching Gemini videos for learning that language piece is going to help the child with the 2-year-old, because we're going to be able to target her brain in a way where she'll be able to understand things a lot easier with Gemini. So we're going to get a receptive language back up faster. Start connecting the brain and the mouth, so when she does start to talk, it'll be easier for her. And the 3-year-old will be more in his active brain and will start to. It'll be great for both of them. And the great thing about it is you can have them watch together. So, like I had twins, they watched in their high chairs together. I cannot speak enough about high chairs. High chairs are your friends. I know a lot of our kids with ASD don't like high chairs, and so they're running around all the time. Get one with a strap and strap them in. After strapping your child in a high chair for 3 times a day for their videos when they're eating for their videos, at the end of 2 weeks they'll realize, okay, this is what I do when I eat, and they'll stop complaining. But for the first week it may be hard, but it's the easiest way to get them engaged, especially when they start to eat. Put something on their tray that they love, like their favorite thing in the world, so that they sit down and they want to start eating it. Then you strap them in. Then they won't be so aware of the fact that they're in a high chair. And then bring in their food that they're going to eat for their lunch. But you have to start off sort of bribing them. How does the app work, please? And will it work for us, for iOS? Yes, it works for iOS. So the app is a session viewer. It allows you to take the sessions off of online and put them on a local laptop or phone. Or, sorry, not laptop, tablet or phone. So you don't need internet. And you go to the App Store, in the Apple App Store or the Google App Store, and you look for Gemini Session Viewer. And you download it, and it will allow you to play or to download all of the sessions that are in your students' My Sessions. So if your student is using Quick Start, the minute you click on a Quick Start video in the student's account, it automatically downloads to his sessions. If you create a session, though, you're going to create in the teacher or the parent account and assign it to him. If you forget to assign it to him, it's going to be stuck in the parent account and it will not show up on the app when you try to download it. So make sure that whatever sessions you're working on, you want him to use are in his account, in the student's My Sessions. Be where you have internet somewhere. Click on in the cloud, and all of his sessions will download. The front page of them, the titles will download onto your app. And then you click on download the one that you want to download, because we don't want to take up a ton of space on your phone. It would take forever if all these videos are very high, have a lot of data. So we just want to download the one that you're going to watch that week. So you click on the one you want, it downloads to your phone, and then from then you're offline. It's awesome. I just did it this morning with my son.